Nevada's Great Basin Desert is home to some of the most remote places we've ever been. Hidden away near its heart is a special place called Berlin-Ichthyosaur State Park. Berlin-Ichthyosaur caters to both the Old West ghost town aficionado as well as the dinosaur-era fossil enthusiast. Old West meets dinosaurs? Yes, please. But to be clear, the fossils here aren't really dinosaurs, although they are reptiles. More on that later. The problem is, experiencing Berlin-Ichthyosaur properly is an investment. It really is far out there, and the best way to visit, in our opinion, is to spend the night. Hey, I'm Glenn with the Cactus Atlas, and today we're going to explore the campground at Berlin-Ichthyosaur State Park. Ichthyosaur. And yes, it's one of our beloved campground episodes, but something a little bit different. And let me commemorate this occasion with an update. In case you were thrown off or missed it, Amy and I are deciding to release campground episodes at a different schedule than the regular content because we plan on doing many more campground episodes like this one today at Berlin-Ichthyosaur State Park. The catch is, some of these campgrounds might be pretty small, like this one, only 14 sites. And I'm not going to promise any grandiose activities. It's probably going to be more by the book, classic Cactus Atlas campground episodes. Just go look at sites in a little bit more in depth and talk about the campground itself. A little bit of campground life will be included though. But I have a little bit of a dilemma right off the bat, in that you cannot make reservations at this park. So just know that the Nevada State Park system does not have that for this park. But it is first come, first serve. And when I was reading about it, I read that if you don't come in the height of summer, the peak season, like on a weekend, you're probably gonna find a site. It's kind of the sentiment you'd hear, and boy, is that correct today. I'm here on a Friday in September, early September, and there's only 2 other people that have claimed their spots out of the 14 sites. Now for me, I'm trying to make a decision here, so I haven't officially staked my claim yet. Don't tell people that yet. I'm gonna keep the car here, but let me explain. I almost always stay at like national park campgrounds and very developed touristy campgrounds, I guess you could say, where you almost always can make a reservation. And I almost insist on having it that way so I can plan with confidence. I don't like uncertainty, and that's just the way I am. But coming to a place like this and taking a chance makes me nervous. But now I have a choice though to make, and I'm leaning towards this one because it's the levelest that I saw. The further back you go, it seemed hilly. So let me show you. This is site 14 here at the Berlin-Ichthyosaur campground. And it seems like one of the best games in town for spacious size for a tent. I'm almost so certain about this, and I almost like this site better than others for a couple other reasons that I am thinking of just going for it and setting up the tent. This here is why I really like this site, though, is how it's the flattest I saw, at least by car, and you have that view of the valley we came from below. You can see we climbed an elevation. So what I think I might do is put site 14 on, I would say, hold. We're gonna keep everything here because I'm almost certain this is the one, but we're gonna go walk around and be diligent and see what out of their other remaining ones, what they look like, which will also show you. The first campsite you will see is site number 14, and that is the site I am currently holding the fort down on, so to speak. But this is the last of the sites, and it's a 14 site campsite. Pretty small campsite, but so far the campsites that I saw on the drive-through and this one are very sizable, and they seem to be nicely spaced. I think I'm doing things out of order for the norm. I usually would set my tent up and show you the campsite. So I'm gonna show you the campsite because we might as well talk about it now while we are looking at one, because it's gonna be a repeating pattern. So site 14, as well as many other sites, if not all of them, I haven't surveyed for sure, have these pavilions for shade and these nice aluminum tables. A fire ring with an attached grill. But as you can see, there are fire restrictions, as there almost always seem to be in these juniper pine forests, because it is quite warm right now. It's probably gonna get quite cool tonight, but it's very dry and it rains infrequently. Therefore, a good policy to follow as always is bring propane with you, because that's almost, I've always seen that accepted anywhere. So I do have a propane stove, and I have like canned goods like chili and beans and things like that, which I can eat for dinner. Now, one thing to make note is I read, and it says on their website that they only offer water service, I think April to October or something like that. However, I've read people comment that they were out here in May and the water still wasn't running yet, but it works. You get really good water pressure and it's very cold water. I'm actually delighted and surprised though to see trash cans. I take it they don't have any major bear problems up here. I guess while we're here and we're talking amenities, this place does have restrooms. I don't know if they're flushing toilets yet or pit toilets. I want to say that I read they were pit toilets, but let's figure it out because this is my main facility for the night. It's an all-gender restroom. It is a pit toilet, it looks like, but it's very clean in here, so very clean. I would say cleaner than even some. There's a few cobwebs up there and stuff, but it's good. But it's, ooh, this is scary. There are rattlesnakes here in this area, so I bet you at night when it starts to cool off, there'll come sun around here. I gotta be really careful. I was wondering if they had them up here, and there's your confirmation. And this is site number 1, right across from the last site, site 14, and it has a very long driveway. Although if you were gonna pull in here, it might be easier to go down the road and come back down the loop. I don't know what size vehicles are recommended to get back here, but luckily Amy, through magic, can actually put stats up on the screen after the fact. And I'm sure she's doing so right about now. So site number 1 would be a nice one if you had a rig of some sort or a camper. Then you do have your picnic table. It's pretty level, although the table is kind of slanted a little bit on a hill, but not enough. It would, I would live with it, I think, if I had to. And you've got your fire ring and grill combo here. And of course you can't make fires on this side of the road either. The sun is brutal hot up here. On a clear day like today, I put on sunblock, but oh my God. Probably need to wear a lighter t-shirt or a lighter color. By the way, if I didn't say it, I didn't see a place to even pitch a tent back there, did you? So that would not be for a tent camper, I would say. Site 13, on the other hand, might actually be another contender for a tent camper, but you do have a nice long driveway. Very long, very straight. You have a very nice area here. Borders mine, kind of. You can see, if I come over this way, I suspect you should be able to see our site back here. And my car is parked over there. But the privacy is very nice, actually. They are very well spaced so far. I don't think my eyes were deceiving me too much when I was doing my drive-by. Because I was like, yeah, I just don't see, unless it was tucked behind somewhere. I didn't see anywhere to set up a tent in many of the sites, and it's proving true. I mean, you could absolutely do something right here, so I really shouldn't say that, and that may not be a bad option. So if you look at it that way, I guess, you could even move the table maybe and have it underneath the awning if you wanted. I may have missed others, but there's another water spigot, so mine is not the only one. Site number 3 is a quaint little one. I would say shorter driveway, good for like a van, I would say. And if you kind of stick with the idea that you could use this space here as a spot for your tent, if you don't mind the rocks, that is, it is very rocky, then this may not be a bad choice. And there's the second bathroom facility and another water spigot. One nice touch is that you have that, but they put like a little pull-out for you to park your car or vehicle if you need to, I guess, make a visit in the middle of the night or something. So if you're keeping tabs with what I'm doing, I skipped site 4 because there are tent campers setup back there. Maybe we can do a stealth turn. But it looks like they have a nice sized tent and it looks pretty level. So that's probably why they chose that one. But here's its neighbor, site number 5. And this is another one that I was remarking, oh, it gets hilly back here. And it is. So this one, if you do have a tent, maybe you could find a more level spot, make something work back here. But other than that, it's not a very level site at all. So I don't know why you'd want either a rig on that grade, or even here it's a little hilly. So the next one that got snagged is this one, number 12. Looks like it's kind of a hilly one too though. The right direction to go is counterclockwise, and we're gonna start to find more vacant ones in a second, but I think there's more taken. But you can see there's another restroom and water spigot here. No shortage of that. 7, another one with one of these roundabout driveways, not flat at all. It is a little slanted, but, and really I guess you could, if you had a small tent, I reckon that leveled off area is what people might use for their camping spot. But the more and more I think about it, it seems like one consistent theme is, if in a pinch, if you can move the table and don't get in trouble for doing that. I've never been in trouble for doing that at a campground. Just put it back when you're done. The underneath the awnings are at least pretty level in most sites. Another tent camper in 8. I guess people have been sneaking by me this whole time because it's filled up a little bit more than when we started. And here's one that I kind of paused when I was driving, thinking maybe it looks kind of nice and quaint back here. Shady. Driveway's medium, I would say medium to long. Definitely on the flatter side where the picnic table is as usual, but other than that, I guess, yeah, it's pretty hilly. I mean, there's really not great spots for tents. It's, you know, I'm guessing the intent are really like, you know, people in vans and campers and things like that. I really want to, one of these days I just need to submit and do that. That would just make my life so much easier, I think. Until that day comes, though, I will continue to be the hero of the tent campers. So far, the site that I picked is undeniably, I think, the best that I saw for a tent. I think of all of them, maybe. I just can't get a close look at some of the ones that are already occupied. Site number 11. A little more level than usual here in the driveway. And then I would say, I would give this one high marks for tent camper. I would say even my tent, a 6-person tent, I think you'll be able to squeeze in there something bigger than that. I might even say this is better in some ways because it's tucked behind all the trees, but you don't get the view that we have. So the view is gonna win this battle, I think, this little thumb wrestling contest. Other than that, make note, tent campers, this site is your jam, potentially. I'm really thinking of making the switch. So make note. Usually I like to call out sites that strike a certain fancy in me, and this one did, with a tent camper in mind. Site 11. If you end up camping here because of this recommendation and you have a good experience or bad, do comment down below and let everybody know. And there you have it. Other than now I gotta set up my tent and camp, take a break from filming to do that chore, and then film some more for your guys' viewing pleasure. Now I am paranoid about rattlesnakes. So now is when I'm gonna show off the tent, which I finally put up. And for you that pay attention, you might notice something different about this tent, yet the same. I got a new tent. So I had the same model, albeit one size down, a 4-person tent. I use the other one quite a bit. You've seen many, I don't know how many camping trips it's been on, but I had a couple rips and a couple defects that popped up over heavy usage and needed to get a new one, but I upped the size to a 6-person tent because the other one was pretty tight with my big cot in there. So I'll show you the inside here. So here it is, the inside of the tent. And I don't know if we have other videos to compare this to, I'm sure we do, but now the cot doesn't go from side to side anymore. It barely fit lengthwise. Now I have plenty of space in here. These particular tents are not terribly expensive. I was looking at buying something really expensive, I think, but I just decided I do like the darkroom technology tents because they do keep out the light. That's the selling point with these. The only downside is if you watch our Goblin Valley campground episode, you'll notice that dust can blow in because the whole top is just open mesh, and that rain sleeve, that rain cover is really all that protects you, but stuff can blow up and over the side. So that's the only downer I would say to the situation, but good ventilation. And then we'll take in one more view before I decide to do whatever's next, which is probably a break, a well-earned break. Well, because I forgot my hot dogs and I couldn't cook them if I wanted to anyway on the charcoal, decided to just eat a sandwich, some cold cuts and stuff in the nice AC of the car after working all day in the sun. Got a little bit of rest. It's now about 4:30 in the afternoon, so I think I'm gonna go walk up to the Fossil House and take the trail that connects the campground to that, and we'll go see what that's all about. We're gonna walk through the Fossil House, 1/3 of a mile. Made another video the drive out here and took this long, beautiful dirt road here. And we're surmising I had Google take me from somewhere else. I had a feeling it wasn't the main way in. When I was reading information at the sign over at the top of the campground, it mentioned Google will take you on this back road, avoid it, come in some other way. So I probably came in the unrecommended way, although I'm here to tell you I'm not in a 4x4 or high clearance, just in a crossover, a large crossover, and zero issues. The road was in spectacular condition the entire time. I could see if it rained recently, there's some washes you go through, but today there were no problems. So keep that in mind when you come out here. You see that interesting architecture? That building, that's the Fossil House where I think they keep the collection of ichthyosaur fossils. Now I will give you some information to see the fossils in the house if I haven't mentioned this one already. They only do tours twice a day. I think between approximately Memorial Day and Labor Day. I think they do them on most days of the week, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. And then after Labor Day, which it is now, still September though, only Saturday, Sundays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It's a Friday. And I have the option to attend a tour at 10 a.m. tomorrow. This is amazing. That is an ichthyosaur. I've heard they found some of these things up to maybe 80 feet long. But I believe they are not dinosaurs. And that's the house that has fossils in it. Apparently there are some windows or something you can peek in and see some fossils. So we'll scout that out. But first, I don't know if that's indicative of the average size of these things. I've heard they ranged in size anywhere from a couple feet to more, but I'm gonna save the learning for the other episode. I think I even mistakenly referred to these as dinosaurs. They are reptiles, but I don't think they're officially dinosaurs, but they lived during the age of dinosaurs. So if you're gonna do the tour, I don't know if this is where you meet, I'll find out tomorrow, but viewing windows provided for those unable to attend a scheduled tour. Says the windows are over here. Oh, are these the windows, I take it? Well, this is gonna be hard to do. I think we'll have better luck on the other side, but I think that might be the actual quarry maybe where they discovered fossils. That is amazing in there. But I can tell you, it's neat to poke your head. We'll try over on this side now. But yeah, there's no replacement from doing a tour. I don't see how that's possible. So I think what I'm looking for are fossils still embedded in the rock. And I don't know how they're arranged. I see down there little stickers. One says U. There's one that says V. There's one up there that says S. But I'm having and one that says R. I'm having a really hard time picking out though what I imagine it would look like. It's probably not like an obvious thing is the problem, but isn't that cool with the model up at the top? Okay, there is a key right here, duh. The key to the fossil. So those letters I were seeing line up to these things. So let's find one there. So you are the backbones from the mid-body region with numerous ribs nearby. And you see you down there. I just see like circles. Are they like, that's just, looks not what I would expect. And then R, where's R? R was somewhere hard to see, I think. It's right there. It's those like kind of ropey looking things. Those are ribs. Okay, that I can kind of tell. It's a rib cage. It's a well-preserved rib cage. The longest rib in the park was 9 feet in length, indicating an animal 8 feet thick and 6 feet wide. So I guess on the tour, what you're gonna get is somebody explaining approximately what I'm telling you now, but much better done, and maybe things that I couldn't possibly know or deduce by looking at this. But I'm glad we walked up here, and I'm glad I showed you this as part of the campground episode, because it is a little bit of a spoiler, but it's not too much of a spoiler, I don't think. Well, I'm gonna have to wait till tomorrow to really dig in. I looked in this window also. With the other camera, I could see a little bit better. Same idea, they have letters that correspond to very similar things that you would see on the other side, but the story is I think the fossils lay where they were excavated and they haven't removed them, so they're still embedded in the rock. So now if you come here to camp and you're here when they don't do a tour, which is very possible, at least you know what you could expect to see now. And now for a few important facts that I learned by the end of the trip. Number 1, bring cash. There are no ATMs at Berlin Ichthyosaur, and they only accept cash. Second, there's no ATM or camper services of any sort anywhere nearby. I drove to the nearest town named Gabs and couldn't find anything. Was a pretty drive though, and also the recommended way to get to Berlin Ichthyosaur. Third, the Fossil House tour fee, currently $5, is a separate charge, also cash only. Because I spent my remaining cash on the campsite, I was out of luck and never made the tour. Thank goodness for the viewing windows. In short, come prepared. Bring cash. Bring everything you'll need. This is truly the middle of nowhere. Well, we spent a night. I always spend the night in our campground episodes because I don't think it would be right not to give you my full report when it's done. But as you can see, the sad time has come. The tent is no longer where it stood. Everything is broken down. But overall, yeah, this campground is very well manicured, very quiet, very nicely spread out, and I couldn't recommend it enough. And it's in a very remote spot, so maybe you're traveling to and fro, and this could be a good place to put up for the night. But of course, the main draw here would be the Old West Town and Ichthyosaurus fossils, as you saw. And I showed you one way to cheat a little bit if you're short on time. And on that note, I think that's gonna be the end of our little campground adventure. We're going to be releasing these more frequently, as I mentioned. I'm on a different day than our usual content, so keep coming back if you enjoy these, and we'll see you on the next camping trip.